I am very happily married. I don't want to be with that ex anymore. I'm good. And there is a little part of your heart that breaks and it stays broken, even though you heal in other ways. Like, that will always be a part of my life. That will always have those bittersweet feelings, that sadness. And a lot of those images in that song are Nashville. And, I think I was 19 when I started dating this guy that the song is about. And, I've grown a lot since then. But I was a young woman in Nashville, like becoming myself. And so, yeah, there's absolutely still some of those feelings of just sadness, but also, real sadness. It's bittersweet.
Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish on all the major podcast and social media platforms. And of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. With a gorgeous voice and a gift for storytelling, Alaina Stacey has captivated listeners through her trilogy of EPs called Dawn, Day, and Dusk. Born from a period of reflection, these EPs offer an incredible exploration of life stages, from fresh beginnings to the uncertainties of endings. Alaina shares the deeply personal inspirations behind her work, including the powerful narrative of her grandfather's battle with Alzheimer's to the bittersweet reflections on past relationships. We dive into her journey as an artist, including her experiences with the acclaimed trio Maybe April, and how she's now carving out her unique path as a solo act. Tune in as Alaina opens up about the intricate depths of her songwriting process and her boundless curiosity about the human experience. She closes us out with a live acoustic version of Stan, named for her grandfather and written from his perspective as his mind and social awareness eroded. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, here's Alaina Stacey. Let's dive in. Hey, Alaina, it's so nice to meet you.
So great to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We're in the middle of the dog days of summer. I guess, are you calling in from home in Nashville?
I am calling in from home in Philadelphia.
Oh, you're in Philadelphia.
Yes,
All right.
I kind of split my time. I was in Nashville, and then I moved here, and so I'm in both places. But right now I am in Philadelphia, where I think it's 96 or 7 degrees.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah,
Yeah.
it's hot. Yeah, I'm in Atlanta, and we've had actually a mild spring, early summer, but now it's like it's full on summer.
Yeah, it's too hot for me. I grew up in Chicago, and I mean it does get hot there, but I'm a winter girl, so I'm ready, ready for it to be over.
Yeah. What part of Chicago did you grow up
I
in?
grew up in the city on the north side, kind of in the Lincoln Square area.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if you're a Cubs fan, but
I am.
we're sort of day removed from Ryan Sandberg's passing, which is
Oh,
kind of sad. I don't know if you know Ryan, but he's a Cubs legend. I grew up watching him. I'm a
oh my
big Cardinals fan, and I never liked him because he always did really well against the Cardinals. But he was a great player, a Hall of Famer and stuff. So
okay, yeah. I mean, I'm a Cubs fan, but I don't as much as just because I grew up in Chicago. I
yeah,
don't really watch a lot of baseball, so I didn't know that.
no, that's
Sorry
good.
to hear. That's sad.
Yeah. No, every time I think of Chicago and the Cubs, I think of him. So anyway, but well, congrats on the new EP. I guess we have a bunch of questions around that. It's the third EP in basically 3 years, right? And it's sort of the ending of this trilogy, starting
Yeah.
with Dawn, then Day, and then Dusk. I know you've done some interviews about it, but I guess could you tell me where did that inspiration come from in terms of the 3-part series?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
was that intentional from the beginning, or did that just evolve?
It was not intentional from the beginning, which I feel like I should like maybe lie and tell people it was intentional from the beginning, but no. So basically what happened was kind of COVID hit and I couldn't play shows out anymore, and so I thought, well, let's just take this opportunity to record all the music I've been meaning to record. And so I started with a batch of songs, and then as we move forward, I was loving those songs, but I wanted to do more songs. And so then I had a few songs from even before that. And I just, all of a sudden I had 19 songs, which was way too many for an album. And so I was trying to decide, like, how am I going to, split this up? And also because the songs were recorded over a few years, but then also they're written over a span of like maybe 10 years or something. Some of them are songs from I wrote it in high school, some of them are much more recent. And so they didn't all feel super cohesive as far as genre is concerned.
Mm.
Um, and so I was a little bit anxious about like how to present myself as an artist, especially because in Nashville, it's like, what are you country? Are you Americana? Are you, and it's, what are you? And it's like, I don't know, just stop asking. So I kind of had these songs and was trying to figure out a way to present them that felt cohesive. And where I could, because they all came from me, they came from my heart. They're all me.
Mm.
Just a few of them are a bit different stylistically. And so a friend of mine actually helped me come up with this idea. He's like a really visual guy. He's a photographer and he does video and, to kind of present them because they are stages of my own life, to kind of present them as this progression from in the day from dawn to dusk, but also a little bit even bigger than that, kind of the dawn to dusk of our lives. And so then I just listened through them all a million times and tried to kind of use my feelings rather than my ears to kind of decide, like, okay, how does this make me feel? Is this a dawn? Is this a day? Is this a dusk? I asked a bunch of friends to listen through and give me their opinions. It was a great collaborative process, and I ended up feeling really good about how I separated them and how I presented them, and I'm so glad that it turned out this way because I feel really proud of the project, and it's been really fun to have a series and to kind of think about, like, just talk about how each of those fits a little bit into that time of day.
No, that's incredible. Thanks for sharing. That's really cool. I guess metaphorically speaking, I mean, you're so young. I don't know how old you are, but you're so young. Metaphorically speaking, what represents like the dusk
Yeah.
of your life? I know that there is definitely a song I want to ask you about your grandfather,
Yes.
but in terms of your life being so
Mhm.
young, like what comes to mind when you think of nighttime and dusk?
Yeah, well, I think, as far as obviously in terms of my life, I'm not at the end of my life. So part of that is my that song about my grandfather. Um, and then a lot of it also is just kind of maybe endings and also uncertainties. There are a couple songs on there that are, love song or breakup songs. Um, but breakup songs with a little bit of like a question mark. And then, there's a few, there's one, it's called Drunken Lullaby. It's like more of a confused, hazy, like that, like kind of sun going down confusion. I don't know. I think even though I'm not at the end of my life, a lot of the songs, yeah, they're just kind of about endings and question marks and wondering what's going to happen next. And I think that's sort of the dusk of the day where you're like, okay, it's the end of the day. Maybe I'm regretful of something, or maybe I'm hopeful, or maybe I'm anxious. And then also sort of the dusk of our lives, like what comes after this? I don't know. There's a lot
Right,
of
right.
questioning and uncertainty in that time. And so that's sort of
Okay.
metaphorically where I was going with that.
Well, you mentioned a breakup. There's a song called "Think of You," which I think is inspired by an ex
Yes.
boyfriend. Is that right? Okay. And there's a whole thing that it's pretty interesting. Apparently, you guys argued or debated about who was better, Bob Dylan and is it Tom Waits?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a really beautiful song, and there's sort of sprinkles of references to Dylan throughout. I guess I had to ask you: Did you write this before the Bob Dylan movie came out? And have you seen the Bob Dylan movie?
Yes, and yes. I wrote it definitely before the Bob Dylan movie came out, and I did see the movie, and I liked it a lot. It actually gave me, I'm if we're arguing Waits or Dylan, I'm on the Tom Waits side,
Right.
and watching the movie did give me extra appreciation for Bob Dylan and made me want to go into the catalog and listen through. And, movies, I feel like they always do that when it's like a biopic or whatever, that suddenly you're like, oh, I want to know everything about this artist and listen to all their songs. So that did help me maybe move the needle a little bit, but I still stand firm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, was it hard? I mean, again, the whole thing's about Dylan, and you wrote a song about this breakup. I mean, breakups are hard, right? Whether it's 2 weeks or 2 years or 25 years. But it's interesting because I think the song, it's like, yeah, everywhere I go, there's sort of these memories, I guess. You're married now, right? Happily married with a young son. I guess, are you still reminded of moments and situations with people that you've had a relationship with before?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you should ask because I was doing another podcast and we talked about this as well, that just, breakups. I am very happily married. I don't want to be with that ex anymore. I'm good. And there is a little part of your heart that breaks and it stays broken even though you heal in other ways. Like, that will always be a part of my life. That will always have those bittersweet feelings, that sadness. And absolutely there are still, I mean, that, a lot of those images in that song are Nashville. And I think I was 19 when I started dating this guy that the song is about. And, I've grown a lot since then. But I was a young woman in Nashville, like becoming myself. And so, yeah, there's absolutely still some of those feelings of just sadness, but also, real sadness. It's bittersweet, and actually I'm very lucky to still be friends with, my major exes. Actually, two of them I wrote songs about on that album, or on that EP. A couple of them are about this Nashville ex, and then one of them is about my high school, like my first love. And I'm still friends with both of those gentlemen, and I'm grateful for that. So
Major X's. That's a
yeah,
song. There's a
I
song
know.
title.
Yeah, you're right. I need to work on that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I think two things can be true, right? You could be happily married and in love with somebody, but also appreciate, respect, and not hold on to, but
Yeah.
have value those times with somebody else. I think that's completely fair.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. So that's a great song. Think of You. Another song called Insomnia, which obviously fits the realm of nighttime and dusk. I think you said on another interview that was actually born out of a class assignment.
Yes, yeah, it was a psychology class that I was taking at Nashville State Community College. Shout out to Professor Garvin. He was great. I had him for 2 classes. I liked him a lot. And yeah, it was an artistic expression assignment, which is, if anyone's ever been in class, that's the best kind of assignment because you could like throw some paint at a picture and be like, this is schizophrenia. And then it'd be like, that's the whole assignment. But of course I had to write a song. So, we got to choose the topic, and I don't know why. I mean, I actually sleep very well, not anymore now that I have a baby, but before the baby, I slept very well. I'm an excellent sleeper. I hardly ever struggle with insomnia, but it hit me in that moment. I was, when I wrote it, I was in New York City staying with a friend, and I was realizing as I was kind of preparing for this album that like, if there was a reason why I wrote Insomnia, it was probably because I went to bed on an air mattress that was inflated and woke up on the ground and wrote this song in a tiny kitchen. I'm using air quotes here for the listeners, kitchenette really. So, and I think that was the time that we actually drove. I was in a trio then, and I was in classes and we were touring. And so I had a night class from 6 to 9 p.m. and we had a show in New York City the next day. So my bandmates picked me up from school at 9 p.m. and we started the drive to New York City. So now actually that I think about it, it makes sense why I chose that topic.
Yeah, that's awesome. So can I ask, I don't think I know why you were going to night school and going to Nashville State, but like, was that kind of a backup plan to the music bit in case the music stuff didn't work out?
Yes and Yes and no. I hate to say backup plan because, I feel like they say you shouldn't have a backup plan if you really wanna succeed. It was more just like, I moved to Nashville when I was 18, straight out of high school, um, and I think I just felt like even though I was fully pursuing this career, I felt like I should have a degree, and maybe that's, like, an old school thinking from, like, my parents' age or whatever, but I just felt like, I don't think I'm done yet, like, with learning in school, and so I started taking these community, college courses in my, spare time, um, and yeah, just to kinda get a degree,
Right.
which is funny, I'm still working on it actually, like
I mean,
10 years
you're kind of
later.
busy. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's it's been fun. I mean, I enjoy learning new things, and
Yeah.
community college is great. I mean, I don't know why everyone doesn't do community college. It's so much cheaper.
Oh, so
It's
much cheaper.
still quality education, yeah, so
Yeah. What grade did Professor Garvin give you?
an A, of
Of
course.
course. Have you
I'm like a
have you
little
sent him the song like since
yeah.
it's been properly recorded and
Oh,
everything?
you know what? That's a great I don't think I have. I sent him actually in my first EP, Dawn, there's another song that I wrote for I was in 2 of his classes. He gave us the same assignment twice. So I did send him the recording of the one from Dawn, but I did not send him Insomnia yet, so I should
All right.
do. Thanks for
Look out for the professor.
yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So the other song I want to ask you about really is, I think, my favorite, which kind of sounds weird because it's not the most, uplifting topic, but it's
Sure.
completely inspirational.
Mm,
And it's called Stan. And I think you wrote it from the perspective of your grandfather who was, suffering from Alzheimer's.
mhm.
Right. And I mean, I wrote a couple lyrics down. I probably could have wrote the whole song down and talked about each line. But I think what was mesmerizing about the lyric that I picked was, I think this is kind of repeated throughout, but definitely at the end.
Mhm,
Like basically, I'm Stan. Nice to meet you. Good to see you. Who are you?
mhm.
Kind of thing. And I think it's just incredible that you were able to encapsulate the
Mm.
struggles and the challenges of Alzheimer's with that, in a beautiful melody.
Thank you.
So tell me, is Stan your grandfather's name?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
So
Stan.
tell me about Stan. What's your best memory of Stan,
Oh my gosh.
growing up? And then, yeah, how did this come about?
Yes. Oh, thank you for asking about that. I love to talk about this song because I loved my grandfather. Um, he was amazing. He was an little old Greek guy, and he always. I think one of his like, if you were to ask anyone about him, I would guess that 95% of people would tell you that he would carry chocolate kisses to in his pockets, and he would give them to children. Which I know, like not just children, to everyone. He would
Yeah.
just always have chocolate kisses. It wasn't like luring people with candy here, just to make that clear. But he was just a sweet, sweet man. He loved to dance. There are so many, thank goodness, a few, beautiful videos of him and my grandmother dancing. Um, she is still with us, and it's her birthday today. She's 90. I want to say 95.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're very lucky to still have her with us. But yeah, he was just so full of life and funny. He cheated at cards every time, but we just knew it, and that was just we called him Papu, is the Greek word for grandpa. So he was our Papu, and we just loved him so much. And anyway, yeah, so he passed away in 2016, I believe. Um, and I wrote this one in I think maybe 20. Now I'm showing my age and also how old some of these songs are. I think I wrote this one in 2012
Oh,
in
wow.
in high school, and,
You wrote this in high school.
yeah, I did. Well,
Lame.
it was so
Wow.
much a part of my life at that time.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, just to see him I think it was really hard on all of us, of course, because this, like, amazing man that we all knew and loved was crumbling before our eyes, but it was especially really hard to see it with my grandma. Um just they were married, I think, 60 years or something, and and to watch her lose him and to watch him I mean, he remembered her the most out of everyone the longest time, of course, he would forget who my dad was, which was really hard to see, like my dad losing his dad. And but yeah, just especially watching my grandma lose the love of her life,
Right.
and to the point where eventually he didn't know who she was, who any of us were. And there were a lot of really beautiful and funny moments too, but ultimately it really took a toll on her.
Yeah.
And it was, I think a lot of people would relate to this, that when he finally did pass, partially it was a relief because he wasn't him anymore, and he was just like this body, and his mind wasn't there anymore. And so it was, of course, horrible and sad. And now, we have wonderful memories of him, and my grandmother has had a whole new life after that. And, almost 10 years now he's been gone, and we miss him, but it's
Yeah.
glad to have the memories.
Well, what's crazy is if you wrote this in high school, which is, I think it's incredible. There's probably, 39 ways to write a song about your grandpa
Yeah.
struggling.
Mhm.
I guess, how did you come to the decision to sort of do it from his perspective? And again, I could have read all the lyrics because they're all incredible, but you have this notion of him singing. It's you singing, but it's him, and it's almost like, come with me.
Mhm.
Behind how the gaze of my eyes, because it's like this weird look that you don't recognize him,
Yeah.
but he's almost inviting you to come and experience it.
Yeah.
Incredible that you wrote this in high school.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think partially that was when he was starting. The hard part was to see, like, when he'd be lucid and when he wouldn't. And so there would be these moments of like him knowing who everyone was and knowing what was going on, and then totally not knowing anything at all. And to watch that switch, I think, is kind of where my head was when I was writing this song, of like, for a few moments he did know, and he was there and he was present, and it was like trying to hold on to all of us, trying to hold on to those moments. One horrible sad memory, I wasn't actually there for this, but my dad was visiting him, and it's kind of funny, but then it turned really sad. My grandpa was really mad and mean to my dad because he thought that my dad was trying to like move in on my grandma, on his mom. He like didn't understand. He didn't know that my
Yeah.
dad was his son, and he thought that he was like a threat to his wife. Which is, kind of funny, and there were some funny moments, but then a lot of Alzheimer's patients, they can get a little bit mean,
Right.
and so, but of course my dad just loved him and loved him and loved him. And as they were walking out, my grandpa had this moment. He said, "Oh my God, you're my son. What am I like?" He
Mm.
had this moment, and he realized who he was and who my dad was, and he like had enough cognition in that moment to realize his confusion. And that was like heartbreaking, because you almost wish that he would just not even know what's going on, because it was so, as hard as it was for all of us. I can't imagine being in that position. So,
No,
yeah, that's kind of where it all came from. And yeah.
no. I mean, it's really beautiful, and I think this is going to show my age now because I'm going to reference something. So this probably president before you were born, I think. But like I said, I'm a little bit older than you, but I grew up in the '80s,
Mhm,
and the president was Ronald Reagan. So,
mhm,
and not to get into politics, but after he left office, actually 6 years after he left office, he wrote a letter. He was, called the Great Communicator. That
mhm,
was his charm, and that was what he was known for,
mhm,
especially in front of the camera, because he was a Hollywood actor. Well, he wrote this letter to Americans when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
mm,
And when I heard the song, I was like, oh my gosh, it took me back. So he wrote this in 1994, and it's a longer letter, but
sure.
the the sentence that I want to call out, because it reminds me of the song, and the notion of dusk and the sun
Mhm,
setting and going down for the night. He
mhm,
basically goes on and he's like, I now begin the journey that will lead me into the sunset of my life.
mm.
And I remember seeing that. And again, it's probably at a similar point of Stan where he was at this precipice of kind of like in and out,
Mhm.
and the president knew that, and I just very heartbreaking.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, any like you said, not to get into politics, it doesn't matter what what side you're on, what you believe, that anyone going through that is so just terrible and sad, and it's I know there's a lot of research, but they still don't know how to stop it or how to cure it. There's just it's really sad, and that sunset thing, sundowning is a thing that Alzheimer's patients go through. It's like around that dusk time when they really get confused. I think it happens to babies too, actually.
Hmm.
Um, kind of that witching hour, and so yeah, so that totally resonates with me as far as hearing that line
Yeah.
um, from his letter.
Well, again, it's gorgeous. So I have a couple other questions, and then we'll talk about kind of what's next after after the latest EP.
Mm.
So you mentioned the trio that you were in a few years ago. I think it was called Maybe April,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So I think you guys had a decent run, and I was watching a video of you, like the famous Audio Tree
Yes,
concert that has
famous
all these
audio
views.
thing.
You
Yeah.
were a baby.
I know, I know. I think I was maybe 18. I might have been 19, but yes.
I mean, you might as well have been 12.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously. But I tried to do some research. I guess what happened to the trio, and
Yeah.
obviously you're doing solo stuff now, but yeah, I was just curious what happened, because I think you
Yeah.
guys had the fans are still engaging with that video, by the way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It's amazing. We're so grateful for that video, honestly. Um, we we're not unexisting. We just the one of the girls, she left the band in 2019 to do some of her own stuff and just to kind of pursue a different direction. Um, and so after that, at that point, we were like, okay, do we continue on without her? Do we just call it quits? And we decided we've been doing this, let's keep going. We were a duo after that, but like a duo that would still usually have at least one or maybe two other people with us so that we could have the three-part harmonies and all that and the instrumentation, because the Kristen, the girl who left the band, she was the the musical brains of the operation. She was an amazing, still is an amazing player. She started in heavy metal, so she could
Oh
shred.
gosh.
So she would like shred on the mandolin and on the acoustic guitar. It was really cool. So anyway, Katie and I, let's just say that's not our strength. And so we uh, we would often play with a few other folks who could play and sing and all that. And so we kept going on it, and we were getting some traction, and kind of we released an album after Kristen left the band, and we were excited to kind of start touring more again and rolling it out. We had like a Rolling Stones thing and a Grammy, whatever, like .com,
Right.
anyway, Billboard thing. And then COVID happened, and we didn't live in the same city. Katie
Yeah.
lived in Indiana, and I was in Nashville, and so it was just we couldn't even do any virtual shows or virtual stuff because with the lag, and I mean things now are even better than they were 5 years ago. So um, yeah, it was just a little bit too hard to keep it
Mm.
going in that moment, and we kept touring a little bit after that, but then Katie had a baby, and I was kind of starting to do more of this, and so we still are very, like, best friends, and we try to write when we can, and, we hope to play more shows for fun, but, it just kind of fizzled out with Kristen leaving and then kinda gearing back up and then COVID hitting, and,
Yeah.
um, so sad about that, but also really grateful for the years that we had and the music we made, and grateful to have, made friends from it and still have,
Well,
still be making music, so.
well, if I could read between the lines, you're not ruling out maybe doing something in the future.
No, no,
Yeah.
absolutely not. That's the beautiful thing about music is you don't have to quit it ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I love that. Okay, cool. So again, you've started the solo journey. I guess where do you think you are as an artist today, and where do you want to be?
Oh, great question. Well, I with COVID, I had a little bit moment of burnout, feeling like, oof, all this, the last, 7 years or whatever I'd been in Nashville when it hit, and it was like, are you kidding me? All this work that we put in and all this time, and it is not, I mean, no job is easy, but oof, this is not an easy lifestyle. The traveling and the making no money most of the time, and um also you're like bearing your soul every night, and you're writing these songs, and you're putting so much goes into it. And then COVID hit, and I a little bit was almost like, I'm done, I'm never doing this again. But of course, I can't do that. This is my life, this is my love, this is my calling, so this is what I'm doing. So right now I feel a little bit like I'm building back up a little bit from, where I was, and really grateful to have had all those experiences with those girls, and like being in a band, because being a solo artist is a bit more lonely. It's a little easier because you don't have to run your decisions by other people, but it's not as fun, honestly. And so I feel like I'm kind of getting the hang of that and figuring out, my voice as a solo artist. Um, and I'm hoping to just be able to keep releasing music, and being able, my two favorite things about being an artist are, well, my number one favorite is performing. I just love being in a room and singing my songs, or honestly any songs, for a group of people, and like connecting, feeling that, like, this is so cheesy, but like that heart connection that you have in the room when, somebody's sharing their music and people are listening, and it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, like what,
Right.
everybody kind of can share. Music is the universal language. So I love performing. And then I also love being in the studio and putting the songs out, and just having that physical representation of the work and the music. So right now, my goal is to just be able to keep doing this, to keep putting out music, to keep playing shows, to keep connecting with more folks, and just spread it out as far as I can.
Well, good for all of us. That's awesome. So I guess what is next, do you think, after, the promotion and the touring for this latest EP? What do you think is next for you?
Yeah, I'm hoping, I'm already planning to do a full length album after this.
Oh, good for you.
This, as I mentioned, this project has been, it's been a long time coming. It happened, I rolled it out over 3 years. I had all the music already recorded. So, I mean, it's been a minute since I've been in the studio, and I have a ton of new songs. I've been writing that whole time. I've got a ton of new songs. I've been playing them out at shows, and people say, "Oh, I love that song. Where can I find it?" I'm like, "Yeah, in my brain." So I'm really excited to do a full length album after this. I'm thinking my brother, Julian, is a producer. I'm thinking it might be fun to do it with him, um, or not. I don't know. Still in the brainstorming process, but yes, the next step after promoting this EP cycle is to get going on some more music, and hopefully have a full length album for everybody soon. Who knows when?
Awesome. That's exciting. All right, cool. So before we started recording, I was telling you about the podcast and stuff. So this was, inspired by Ted Lasso. So the notion of positivity and, good leadership and curiosity and, forgetting mistakes and all those things. So I asked this of everybody, and can't wait for your answer.
Oh
But
God.
again, at this point in your career, part of a band, solo artist,
Mhm.
as a girlfriend, as an ex-girlfriend, and now as a wife and a mother,
Mhm.
what are you most curious about?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I'm really, this is going to sound really broad, and I'll try to describe it. Really curious about um, people and their, like, inner, and their feelings and their thoughts and dreams and hopes. Like, I'm so curious always to know what makes a person who they are, and how did they become who they are. And the like I said, I'm like still in school, still getting my degree. I'm I'm learning about early education and children, and the way that children develop and they construct the little person that they're going to be one day. And there's a great quote from Maria Montessori, something like, there's no man that exists who wasn't the child that created him, or something. I'm paraphrasing, but so I think I'm just really curious, especially now being a mother and watching my son discover himself and discover the world around him, and thinking so much about the experiences that he's having, and the way that I impact that, and the way that my husband impacts it, and our family and the world around him. So I think I'm just really fascinated with how people become who they are, and just hearing what's in their hearts and in their soul, and what makes them who they are. So,
Well, thanks for sharing. That's awesome.
of course, thank you.
Very good. Very good. So, congrats again on the EP. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thanks so much for your time, and have a great rest of 2025. And we can't wait for your new music.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
Thanks, Alaina. Take care. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Let me show you what lies behind my gaze. Come away with me, though I know you won't recognize this place. Come away with me to the deepest corners of my mind. Come away with me where the memories of you and me hide. I'm finding what it's like to lose yourself, but I can't imagine watching me go through this hell. I'm sorry for making this hard on you. You are the one thing I know I will always remember. But wait just a moment. I'm Stan, nice to meet you, good to see you. Who are you? Come away with me, though we barely have a minute. Come away with me, so I can tell you that I love you and you feel it. I'm finding what it's like to lose yourself, but I can't imagine watching me go through this hell. Please stop me, I'm slipping away from you slowly, and each time I see you for real, I can only remember for a moment. I'm Stan, nice to meet you, good to see you. Who are you? I'm Stan, nice to meet you, good to see you. Who are you? My name is Stan, nice to meet you, good to see you. Who are